Greetings to all. Welcome to Future Officers Academy. Today we are going to see the daily current affairs of September 23. So today we are going to discuss the topics of Quad meeting launches maritime and health initiatives, which comes under GS2 international relations. Next, UP Rajasthan MP top in cases of atrocities on Dalits report. It comes under prelims perspective. Next, on pitfalls of estimating GDP, which we have to know under GS3 Indian economy. Next, judicial appointments and disappointments, so which comes under GS2 Indian polity. Next, Tirupati Balaji temple, and finally we'll be seeing the editorial analysis. Our first topic is about Quad meet launches maritime and health initiatives. So first we have to know why it is in news. Leaders of the Quad countries gathered for their sixth summit to enhance collaboration on security, health, and education initiatives. The meeting also aimed to tackle regional challenges, including maritime aggression into the Indo-Pacific and ongoing war in Ukraine. They announced various projects aimed at strengthening mutual support and cooperation. So with this, we have to know about what is Quad. The grouping of four democracies, that is India, Australia, US, and Japan. So it's known as the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue or Quad. The aim of this grouping is to ensure a free and open international order based on the rule of law in the Indo-Pacific. Next, their objectives. The group's primary objective include maritime security, that is, combating the COVID-19 crisis, especially which was vaccine diplomacy, addressing the risk of climate change, creating an ecosystem for investment in the region, and boosting technological innovation. Next, the initiatives from the Quad Summit. The initiatives first is New Coast and Guard exercise. New Coast and Guard exercise. The launch of the Quad at Sea Ship Observer mission in 2025 aims to enhance interoperability and maritime safety among the member nations. Next, Maritime Initiative for Training in the Indo-Pacific, that is MAITRI. A training program to assist Quad partners in monitoring and securing their waters, with India set to host the inaugural workshop in 2025. Next, the logistics network pilot project. Quad countries will share airlift capacity to bolster disaster response efforts. Next, cervical cancer combat. The Quad Cancer Monsoon initiative will involve at $10 million commitment from India for cervical cancer screening, with Serum Institute of India and Gavi providing up to 40 million vacancies for the region. Next, maritime legal dialogue. A dialogue has been initiated to support actions aimed at upholding the rules-based order in maritime issues. Next, condemnation of maritime aggression. The Quad leaders expressed strong concerns over maritime aggression in the East and South China Seas, highlighting issues of militarization and intimidation. Next, Ukraine and Gaza conflicts. The declaration touched on the global impact of the Ukraine war, particularly on food and energy security, and called for increased humanitarian aid to Gaza. Next, Quad fellowship expansion. Quad fellowship expansion. The fellowship for STEM education has been expanded to include 50 scholarships worth $500,000 for students from the region to pursue studies in government-funded technical institutions in India. Next, the significance of Quad for India. So, as a member of the Quad, in the event of a rise in the Chinese hostilities on its borders, India can take the support of the other Quad nations to counter it. In addition, India can even take the help of its naval front and conduct strategic explorations in the Indo-Pacific region. The summit hoped to survive for an Indo-Pacific region that is free, open, inclusive, and unconstrained by the coercion. This aspect becomes important for India in the wake of China's aggressiveness and coercive nature in the strategic Indo-Pacific region. For India to assert this role as a region, its dominions in the Indian Ocean region needs to be maintained and sustained. In the perspective, Quad provides India a platform to enhance security through partnership in the region. India has supported a rule-based multipolar world, and Quad can help it in achieving its ambition of becoming a regional superpower. Next, the post-COVID diplomacy is there have been disruptions of supply chain across the world due to pandemic, and this might result in an over dependence on China for global value chains. Under such situation, India should use the diplomacy with Quad Group to establish a base for its expertise in manufacturing sector. So with this, we have the UPSC mains question which have been asked in 2020. Quadrilateral security dialogue is transforming itself into the trade bloc from the military alliance in the present times. Discuss. So you can practice on this question. Our next topic is about UP Rajasthan MP top in case atrocities on Dalits report. So why it is in news? A recent report reveals a significant concentration of atrocities against scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in India, particularly in 13 states. It underscores declining conviction rates and emphasizes the urgent need for targeted interventions to protect vulnerable communities. In 2022, 97.7% of reported atrocities against scheduled castes occurred in 13 states, with Uttar Pradesh accounting for 23.78% of total cases. A total of 51,656 cases related to the atrocities against SCs were registered under the Prevention of Atrocities Act. Madhya Pradesh recorded the highest number of atrocities against scheduled tribes with 30.61% of cases. The conviction rate of SC/ST case declined to 32.4% in 2022. Special courts to expedite trials exist in 194 out of 498 districts. Several states have established SC or ST protection cells and special police stations to address complaints related to atrocities against these communities. So with this, we have the UPSC prelims question which have been asked in 2019. Under which schedule of the Constitution of India can transfer of the tribal land to private parties for mining be declared null and void? So the answer is under 5th schedule. Our next topic is about on the pitfalls of estimating GDP. So why this have been in news? The article discusses the upcoming revision of India's GDP series, proposing 2020 to 21 as the new base year while considering the use of GST data for estimating value addition. It highlights concern about the integrity of GDP estimates and the need for validation of new database. Here we have to know about the importance of GDP. GDP is gross domestic product is a crucial measure of a country economic size and serves as the universal benchmark for comparing economic indicators across different regions. Real GDP adjust for price changes is often preferred to accurate economic assessment. It calculated based on data sets related to output prices and employment. Next, the base year revision. The current GDP series with a base year of 2011 to 12 is due to revision proposing 2020 to 21 as the new base year. Major data sets for the revision for mostly available except for census data. The National Statistical Office plans to use goods and services tax data to estimate value addition, replacing the previous Ministry of Corporate Affairs database for private corporate sector. Next, the rational change for the change. The MCA 21 database was introduced during the last revision for the 2011 to 12 base year, while the annual survey of industries was previously the main source for estimating manufacturing value added. The switch to MCA 21 was justified by claims that it provided a more comprehensive view of value addition beyond factory premises, capturing the rapidly growing PCS better. Next, the defense of new estimates. The NSO defended its new estimates by claiming that they utilized a more extensive database for improved estimation methods that align with international best practice. Critics remain concerned about whether a large dataset inherently leads to more accurate estimates, as the government did not make the MCA data available for independent verification. Next, the evidence of overestimation. Comparisons between gross value added and gross fixed capital formation based on the National Account Statistics and ASI from 2012 to 13 and to 2019 to 20 revealed significant discrepancies. The average annual growth rate of GVA was 6.2 per NAS but only 3.2 per ASI, indicating systematic overestimation in NAS estimates. Next, the caution for GST data utilization. The evidence highlights the need for caution in using GST data for GDP estimation. It serves as a warning against hastily applying unverified datasets and methodologies without rigorous testing. The NSO should conduct pilot studies to assess the GST dataset reliability for estimating value addition across various sectors and regions. And finally, their conclusion and the recommendation. While GST data has the potential to enhance GDP estimation due to its comprehensiveness, its lack of transparency poses challenges for validating GDP estimates. Systematic analysis and cross-validation by independent agencies are essential to establish the validity of GDP estimates based on GST data. Alternatively, the NSO may consider reverting to the ASI for estimating GDP in the manufacturing sector, as it now more timely and available for use. So with this, we have the UPSC mains question which have been asked in previous year 2021. So explain the difference between computing methodology of India's gross domestic product before the year 2015 and after 2015. So you can practice on this question. Our next topic is about judicial appointment and disappointments. So here the article discusses the importance of judicial independence in India and critiques the collegium system for judicial appointments, advocating for the transparent and accountable selection process. It emphasizes the need for reforms to ensure the judiciary integrity and public trust. Next, the harmony of the constitutional powers. The Indian Constitution ensures a harmonious operation among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. For the judiciary to function effectively, it must possess a high degree of independence. However, the independence must be tempered with constitutional discipline to prevent potential abuses of power. Next, the balancing accountability and independence. Chief Justice S.H. Kapadia emphasized the need for the government to find a balance between judicial accountability and independence. The interplay among the three branches of government must align with constitutional principles to maintain judicial decorum. Next, their roles of three instrumentalities. The executive is responsible for implementing laws and policies, with a cabinet led by the Prime Minister and Chief Minister serving as primary agencies. The legislature, consisting of parliament and state assemblies, creates laws. The judiciary serves as the guardian of fundamental rights, correcting arbitrary actions by the executive and legislature. Next, their judicial authority and criticism. Judges hold the ultimate authority in interpreting the constitution and must possess knowledge of law and culture. The appointment of judges remains a concern. While the president appoints judges, this is done at the cabinet direction. Clarity in the principles governing judicial selection is essential to prevent class bias and ensure that diverse voices are represented. Next, the emergence of collegium system. The collegium system for judicial selection was introduced by a narrow majority decision in Supreme Court. This system operates without constitutional backing, leading a lack of transparency and accountability in judicial appointments. Next, the need for reform. The Union Law Minister proposal to replace the collegium system with a commission has raised questions about its structure and accountability. A constitutional amendment is necessary to establish a clear framework for judicial section. Next, a proposal for Judicial Selection Commission. A new commission must possess high standing comparable to the Prime Minister or a Supreme Court judge, with the Chief Justice of India as its chairman. Investigations into the character and biases of judicial candidates should be conducted by an independent agency rather than government affiliated bodies. Next, ensuring independence and integrity. The proposed commission should operate independently, upholding constitutional values and resisting external pressure from political entities and corporations. It should be immune from legal proceedings, with removal only possible through a high tribunal comprising the Chief Justice of India and the High Court Chief Justice. Next, the importance of public involvement. The Commission's process must allow for public input, ensuring transparency and accountability in judicial appointments. Such reform aims to fortify the independence of judiciary while ensuring it remains accountable to the public service. So with this, we have the UPSC previous year question which have been asked in 2019. Consider the following statements. The 44th Amendment to the Constitution of India introduced the article placing election of Prime Minister beyond judicial review. The Supreme Court of India struck down the 99th Amendment to the Constitution of India as being violative of the independence of judiciary. So which of the statement given above are correct? So here the answer is B. Only second statement is a correct statement. Our next topic is about Tirupati Balaji Temple. So we have to know about Tirupati Balaji Temple first. Amid the escalating controversy surrounding the Tirupati Laddu, A.R. Dairy, a company that supplied ghee to the famous Lord Balaji Temple, defended the quality of its products. So the Tirumala Venkateshwara Temple, also known as Tirupati Balaji Temple, is a Hindu temple situated in the hill town of Tirumala at Tirupati in Chittoor district of Andhra Pradesh. The temple is situated at the height of 853 meters above sea level, and it is positioned on Venkata Hill, which is one of the Saptagiri, that is 7 hills of Tirumala Hills. It is dedicated to Lord Sri Venkateshwara, an incarnation of Vishnu. It has been mentioned in holy scriptures such as Garuda Purana, Brahma Purana, and many others. And we have to know about the history. The temple's ancient roots can be traced to the Pallava dynasty, which had a strong influence on the region during 9th century. Subsequently, the Chola dynasty played a crucial role in further developing and patronizing the temple. Later on, during the reign of Vijayanagara Empire, the temple received significant contribution and endowments, solidifying its place in a religious landscape of South India. One of the defining moments in the temple's history was when the famous saint Ramanuja played a pivotal role in reviving the temple and its rituals in 12th century. It is one of the richest temples in the world in terms of donations received and wealth. A popular practice in the temple is the donation of hair and various riches in order to please the god. Next day, Tirupati Laddu, the renowned sweet Tirupati Laddu given as the prasad at the temple, has the geographical indication that is GI tag. Next, their architecture. The temple is constructed in Dravidian architecture, is believed to be constructed over a period of time starting from 300 AD. 3 entrances led to the Sanctum Sanctorum. The first is called Mahadvaram. Next, a Gopuram gateway measuring 50 feet is placed in front of the entrance. There are 2 circumambulation, that is Parikrama paths. The main shrine houses a gold-plated tower that is called Ananda Nilayam, and the temple inside the tower houses the main deity. The temple's vast courtyards, pillars and halls are adorned with exquisite sculptures and designs that capture the essence of Hindu spirituality. So that's all from this topic. Our next topic is about editorial analysis. Under editorial analysis, we'll be discussing the topic of India needs a national security strategy. First, their context. The article emphasizes the need for India to develop a comprehensive national security strategy, that is NSS, amidst growing geopolitical changes, including tensions with neighboring countries and global conflicts. The highlights the importance of balancing defense priorities, economic reliance, and diplomatic flexibility while maintaining strategic secrecy. Next, the demand for national security strategy. The need for the national security strategy is back in public discourse due to the India's evolving geopolitical environment. Old adversaries like China are strengthening while new alliances such as with the US are still uncertain. India's economic ambitions such as becoming as $4 trillion economy face challenges from the ongoing wars in Ukraine and Gaza affecting global growth. A strong economy is crucial to national security as every minister from health to defense realizes on a share of the economic resources. Next, defining national security. The term national security varies based on time and the state in question. In the US, it has once meant a union of values and national interest, allowing for the support of dictators when necessary for economic gain. US national security strategy documents outline objectives for power projection, both domestically and internationally. Countries like the UK and France use their security strategies to emphasize the global roles despite economic or military limitations. Next, India's need for an NSS. India needs a coherent NSS that integrates various sectors such as defense, finance, investments, and climate change. The creation of an NSS requires a top secret process given that it would necessitate a clear identification of threats such as economic and military challenges posed by China. Such an exercise is needed to prioritize within limited resources and set strategic directions. Next, the multi-alignment as India's approach. India's current strategy of multi-alignment involves forming alliances with nations that could provide defense technology and support in times of crisis. The Quad and the BRICS illustrate their flexible approach as India's balanced relations with both Western powers and China. India's trade deficit with China complicates the relationship given China's frequent territorial incursions. Next, the challenges in public transparency. Public nation security documents like those of the US or UK often exaggerate or highlight strength for political and diplomatic purpose. In India's case, transparency in the public NSS could expose military and economic vulnerabilities, particularly in areas like shipbuilding or submarine capabilities, where India lags for behind China. A public NSS could also reduce India's flexibility in foreign policy, as seen its careful balancing on issues like the Russia, Ukraine, and Gaza conflicts. Next, their budgeting and prioritization. National security is closely linked with economic strength, which in turn impacts defense capabilities. While India's defense budget is somewhat transparent on NSS, would require clear prioritization of resources, especially in areas like Indo-Pacific, where the India needs to upgrade its naval capabilities. Pakistan's opaque defense budget highlights how secrecy is sometimes necessary, especially for nations with vulnerabilities. Next, the internal and external messaging. The public NSS would need to be balance the demands of social media fuel nationalism with the realities of Indian military and economic limitations. India's foreign policy approach avoids the chest thumping seen in the other countries and emphasizes results oriented action, as demonstrated by its swift effective interventions in foreign conflicts. Any display of bravado in the public NSS would be face criticism from political opponents and might hinder India's diplomatic flexibility. Next, the economy as the central component. An NSS must integrate economic goals with national security priorities, as a strong economy is the foundation of sovereignty and defense capabilities. Such an exercise would involve setting priorities for industries, financial institutions, and other sectors that support national security. Next, a discreet but urgent need. Indians urgently need an NSS, but it should be kept secret to avoid revealing vulnerabilities to advisories. The NSS should be concise, focused, and linked to economic and defense priorities with directives issued to individual ministers and needed. The National Security Council Secretariat can lead this effort, ensuring a cohesive strategy that guides India toward its long-term national goals. So that's all from today's topic. To read this document, you can visit our website. Our website link have been provided in the description. To get more daily current affairs videos, follow our YouTube channel, also our Telegram channel. Thank you.